Hi guys, it's Maureen. Welcome back to my little English page. Today's lesson is focused on how to be polite or not be rude in English, and more specifically in the UK in general. Alright, so I see we have quite a lot of people here already. The first one was Sheriff, then Lolly. We also have Andreas in the comment section and Sean from $3.99 English. And we have somebody else here as well. I think, I just saw Jordan Patterson. Nice to see you guys. How are you doing? Are you ready to learn? Yes, we're ready to learn, Maureen. Yeah. Okay, so as you know, today is our regular weekly live lesson, a different topic every single time on Thursday at 4 p.m. GMT +2 Spanish time. Okay? So now, before we start, you know the drill. Know that you could become the patron of the week. Now, what does that entail? It entails you getting me a little cup of coffee at www.coffee.com. Now, the cool thing is you get a big shout out on YouTube and another one on Instagram, and know that these contributions go towards improving the content and the materials that I use as well. You guys know I need a microphone. The quality of my laptop is okay, but when I just film with the camera, it's a little bit not bad, but it's not great. So those are things that I could be able to purchase thanks to those patrons. So thank you very much, guys. And remember, if you're interested, you can check the comment section. No, not the comment section. The description down below, where you will find the direct link to that website, www.coffee.com. Now, I'm sorry if you hear a tiny little bit of noise around. I have some people at the house. but hopefully it won't be too loud and we'll be able to do our lesson without any problems. All right, so today, guys, we are going to have a look at three main things. The first one is things that you shouldn't say. So I'll show you sentences, and we'll have a look at alternatives, different ways to say that in a slightly more polite way. Of course, there's a million different ways of saying something differently, of saying it more politely. These will just be some examples. Feel free to write your own in the comment section as well. Then we will have a look at things you shouldn't do. So now we're not talking about things you shouldn't say, but things you shouldn't do. And finally, we'll have a look at things that you should either do or be aware of when you go to the UK. Now again, remember, these are general things, specifically for the last category about things that you should do or be aware of. It might not be 100% accurate everywhere in the UK or with every single person living in the UK. These are general guidelines, general tips that usually work. Okay, guys? Hi, Ashar. Nice to see you. Okay, so let's jump straight into it. Let's go into our first category, which is things you shouldn't say. So the first one is, I want a coffee. I want a coffee. This is a little bit harsh, a little bit blunt, a little bit too demanding. So can you guys let me know in the comment section or in the chat actually, what else we could say to say that you want coffee, but in a more polite way? I'll give you a second to think about it, guys, okay? Right, so I want coffee. How can I say that in a more polite way? Hello, Bob Bualemovic. Nice to see you. Nice to meet you. Okay, guys, so just so you know, if you are new, know that there is a slight delay between the moment you write between the moment you write the comment and the moment I receive the comment, okay? All right, so Lolly, I'll have a coffee. That works. I'm looking for a different context, the one where you're requesting a coffee, okay? I'd like a cup of coffee, okay? Or we would probably use will here, Sheriff. I'll have a cup of coffee, please. I would like a coffee, please. I would like a coffee. Okay, all right. Sergi does not want coffee. All right, but what about tea? How would you say that? Yeah, Shar, would you mind getting me a cup of coffee? That's very good too. All right, so I came up with two alternatives that would work. One is very similar to what you guys said. I would like a coffee or a cup of coffee, please. Keep in mind that saying please is quite necessary in English, okay? And then another one that I came up with is, may I have a coffee, please, okay? But again, remember guys, there's many different ways of being polite, of saying something politely. Oof, it's hot, sorry. These are just two, and you guys had some really good alternatives as well in the chat. Very good. Okay, can I have a cup of tea? Yeah, that works too. Hello, Nada. Nice to meet you. That works very well as well. Ooh, I'm longing for a cup of coffee. Okay. Oh, Jordan, I'm begging you, please, give me a cup of coffee. That's very intense. I'm begging you. Good. Okay, all right, guys. So then the next one is going to be, what? What? Either when you don't understand something or when you didn't hear something. I think the example, yeah, for both of those, okay? Either you don't understand something or you didn't hear something. So how could you say that in a polite way? Because just going, what, is obviously not very polite. Okay, so I'll give you a second again to think about that. So Sheriff saying, Marie Nada is our friend from Greenwich community. All right, well, welcome to the My Little English Page community this time. Welcome, welcome. Nice to have you here, Nada. Okay, or is it Nada or Nada? Let me know. Do I have to say both A's and make it a long A? I beg your pardon. That's a great expression. Beg your pardon? Absolutely. I have a friend who's from the Netherlands who always says, beg your pardon? Beg your pardon? That's a really good one. Okay. Could you repeat, please? Very good. Okay. Any other alternatives you can think of, guys? Ooh, funky hair. Okay, let's see. One more. Would you repeat that, please? Okay, excuse me. Okay, very good. So I chose two alternatives here. The first one is, could you repeat, please? That's simple. And I didn't catch that. Basically means I didn't really understand that, okay? Oh my gosh, Caitlin! Hi, nice to see you. Caitlin and I used to work together in Seville. Oh wow, it's been such a long time. So nice to see you here. Okay, very good. All right, bye-bye, Sean. Nice to have you here. Bye-bye. Could you repeat, please? I didn't get it, okay? Sorry. Sorry works. It's kind of a general one, but you can use a few more words, I think. Yeah. And then Sergio is saying, it depends on the situation. If I'm at my friend's home, of course, you don't need to be that polite with your friends, obviously. So you might not need to use all of those fancy expressions with your friends or with your family. But in a shop, when you don't know somebody, or at work, you might want to use those expressions that are a little bit more formal and more polite, okay? I didn't catch it, or I didn't catch that, okay? All right, only nada. Okay, nada. Good. I didn't get you. I didn't get you. If you don't get someone, it's quite different. It means you don't understand the person, but the person, not what they're saying. Okay? So it's a little bit different. Okay, my next one could be, for example, in a work environment. Okay? Let's say your boss comes up to you and says, do this. If he says that, or she, could be a female boss. If he or she says that, you're not going to want to do it because it's a bit rude, it's a bit harsh. So let's find a softer, more polite way of saying, do this. Okay? Go ahead, take a second. No coffee today, guys. I'm out of ice, so couldn't have a hot coffee. It's way too hot right now. All right, so let's see who's fast to give us an alternative to do that. Or, sorry, do this today. If we want to be very precise. Do this today. How else could we say that in a more polite way or in a softer way? Something that's not so direct and, in your face. Could you do this today, please? Okay. Or could you please do this today? Works very well. Good, Sheriff. That was a good one. All right, let's see. A few more, guys. What about, suspense. Do you mind? Okay, so be careful, Bob. In this case, I think it would work nicely if you said, do you mind or would you mind doing this today? Okay. I don't think I would use the if here, okay? Sheriff's saying, are you cutting down on coffee these days? No, I'm still drinking as much coffee. I just ran out of ice. Caitlin says, would you mind doing this for me? Okay, works well. It would be great if you could do this. Okay. Using suggestions with WH questions. Okay, we could say something like, why don't you do this today? That would work. What about doing this? Let's do this today. The only thing is be careful with the let's. You kind of include yourself as well. Okay? Andrea says, got interrupted by my lovely spouse. She told me to do it. Yeah, she doesn't need to be that polite with you, I'm sure. All right, so here are the alternative, or did I choose one? I only chose one for this one, okay? So the one I came up with is, it would be great if you could do this today, okay? Which is the same that you chose, Loli. Good job, okay. Great minds think alike. Yes, they do. Okay. That's a good one, Caitlin. I would appreciate or I'd appreciate it if you did this today. Very good. That's a lovely one as well. Hello, Saif. Nice to meet you. Okay, very good, guys. So, last one for this category. We have another slide thingy with more words or expressions that you shouldn't say, okay? So the next one is, let's say you meet someone for the first time and you go, who are you? Who are you? It's a bit rude, right? Yeah, I mean, somebody comes up to you, you've never met them before, and they tell you straight to your face, who are you? It's not very nice. And maybe they're just, they just want to know more about you, or in this case, the example that I chose is to ask for the person's name, okay? Don't go, who are you? That's too harsh, too straightforward, okay? So what else could we say instead of, who are you? And I want to know the person's name, okay? So, let's see who's first here to answer again. So hot. Come on, guys. Oop. Who's the first one to answer? Okay, so could I ask for your name? Okay, excuse me, would you tell me what your name is? So it's not a question anymore, Sheriff, which is why we don't need to say what's your name, but we have to put is at the end because the subject goes before. Could you tell me what your name is? Okay. Could I have your name, please? What is the meaning of who are you? It can be quite big. Who are you? You could be asking for the person's name, or you could just be asking them, for example, you are at a party and you see someone you've never met. Who are you? How are you connected to the people at this party? That's another way of interpreting who are you, okay? We've never met before. Would you introduce yourself, please? Good one. Could you introduce yourself, please? All right. Oh, that's another good one, Nada. Hello, I'm Nada from Egypt. What about you? Good. May I have your name, please? What is your name? Now, in this case, Sheriff, this is a question. So, what is your name? But the one you said before, which was, excuse me, would you tell me what your name is? Because the question part is on the would you. The what your name is not a question, okay? I hope that's clear. Would you grant me your name? That's a little bit too formal, I think. It's almost too much, okay. Okay, so here I came up with may or could I ask or have your name. So, may I ask your name? May I have your name? Could I ask your name? Could I have your name? Okay? Those are different alternatives, different ways of saying, what's your name? Who are you? Okay? Good. Andreas is saying we could chip in for an air conditioning device. I have one. It's on, but it's still too hot. It doesn't matter. Okay, guys, so let's move on to the next slide. It's again going to be don't say sentences. The first one is, come here. Come here. This is way too harsh. This is what I tell my dog. I tell Winston, come here. It's a bit harsh, a bit rude, especially with people you don't know, to just tell them to come here, because this is an order. You are ordering them to come. This is rude. If you don't know someone, don't give orders. So, let's see what you come up with. So meanwhile, I will answer. So Sheriff, you didn't catch that. Okay, so let me go back on the comments because I need to show you. So the first one that you sent, the first sentence that you wrote was, excuse me, would you tell me? Would you tell me is the question structure, which is why you have would you and not you would. Okay? So that first bit was correct. But then the sentence continues with, would you tell me what is your name? If you say what is your name, that's another question. But you already have the question with would you, where you've inverted subject and auxiliary. So the second part of your sentence needs to be what your name is, because your name is the subject and then you have is, which is the verb. So would you tell me what your name is the correct way of saying it. But then you try to make another question, and you wrote, what your name is. In this case, it's a full question. All of it is the question. So you do need to invert the subject and the auxiliary. So what is your name? Okay? I hope that's clear. Okay, so would you please come closer, or would you come closer, please? Okay. Could you come here, please? Yep, Lolly, be careful, typo, only one R. Do you mind coming here, please? Would you mind coming here, please? Get closer to me? Yes, but Jordan, I would add a please at the end, okay? Please, could you come here? Please, come over here. Okay, good. Would you come here, please? Very good, guys. So the one I came up with, the one I chose is, could you come here, please? But remember, there's a bunch of correct alternatives. Can you come closer? Okay, if you say closer, you wouldn't use here, nada. Okay, so can you come closer, please? Or can you come here, please? Choose one or the other. All right, good. So hot. Next one. I need a pen. You're in class and suddenly, I don't know, you realize you don't have a pen and you need to ask one of your classmates or one of your co-workers for a pen. And you just say, I need a pen. Okay, whatever. You need a pen? No, you need to ask properly. So how would you ask, I need a pen, in a more polite, in a softer way? Write that in the chat. Sergi, you're definitely going to get the person to come. Here, there's free beer. Would you mind coming here? I'm sure they will come here. Andrea says, I get a strange vibe from get closer. Will I get a hug? Yeah, or it sounds a bit like, you know, when you're a child and your dad or your mom or your brothers are somehow going to play a prank on you, to trick you. It's like, come on, come closer, I'm not going to do anything, come closer. That's never good. They always end up doing something. Okay, so let's see. Ooh, okay, nada. That's an interesting one. Be very careful. Could you lend me? If you lend, you give to someone. Okay, so could you lend me a pen, please? Okay. If you want to use borrow is, can I borrow, please? Okay, when you lend, you give. No, yes, if I lend, I give it to you. If I borrow, I take it from you. So don't confuse the two. Could you lend me a pen, please? Could you give me a pen, please? Would you give me a pen, please? Can I borrow your pen for a couple of minutes? Very good as well, Jordan. Can I borrow your pen? May I borrow your pen, please? Could you lend me a pen, please? Okay, yes. They're all slightly similar, aren't they? So I wrote one with lend. Okay, so would you lend me your pen, please? Or a pen. And the other one with borrow is, could I borrow your pen? And of course you can add please at the end. I just didn't want to repeat over and over and over again. Okay? Let's see. Sherry, if you're asking me what's the highest in Seville today, you mean the highest temperature? I'm not sure, but it's easily 35 because it's quite hot at the moment. I would maybe even say a little bit more. It's quite possible. Yep. Okay. Could I borrow your pen for a moment, please? Okay, very good. Perfect, guys. The next one is, I don't like it. I don't like it. Rude. Rude. Let's say you are having dinner at a friend's house and you don't like whatever they made, whatever food they made. So first, I don't think I would tell them if it's not good, but let's say you have to tell them that it's not good, that it's bad. You're not going to say I like it, because you might just create a little bit of conflict there. You want to be a little bit more diplomatic in this case, okay? So how could you say that you don't like something but still be respectful and not mean? So Sheriff, yeah, sorry, it's not my cuppa or it's not my cup of tea. Very good. Hi Gordon, nice to meet you. Nice to see you. So what else could we say instead of I don't like it? I don't like it. Hi Khalid. Tastes interesting. That's a good one, Andreas. It has a very peculiar taste. Very distinctive taste. Very good. I'm good, Khalid. Thank you. We're having a look at sentences that are not very polite and we are coming up with alternatives. So let's see if you can give us an alternative for I don't like it. Something a little bit more polite. So yes, exactly. Actually, it's not my cup of tea. Excuse me, guys, I'm quite full. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, I'm quite full. I'm sorry, I'm not going to have any seconds. I'm really full. Thank you. Good. I'm sorry, but I'm allergic to... Okay, that's another good one. I've just had my meal. It doesn't address me. That's a weird one, Jordan. I wouldn't say that, okay? Caitlin is saying, I'm not quite sure about that. Good one. I would prefer something else. Hi, Anna. I'm afraid it's not really my thing. It's not my thing. That's another really good one, okay? All right, so I came up with, for example, I'm not a fan. Okay, I'm not a big fan of your soup. Sorry. I tried, but I'm not a big fan. Not a fan. Definitely not a fan. Okay? And then the other one that you guys wrote as well, which is quite common, which is it's not my cup of tea. Okay, if something is not your cup of tea, it's not something you really like. It's not your favorite. You don't really like it. Okay? Oh, so Saji checked the temperatures for us. So today's 35, tomorrow 38. No! I'm going to die. All right. I don't prefer this. You wouldn't use prefer. If you use prefer, you have to say something like, I would prefer something else. I think that would work better. Okay? All right. And then I have one more, which is, that's a bad idea. That's a bad idea. Okay? Somebody at work, for example, is suggesting, I don't know, they've come up with a new project idea and they're pitching the project, okay? They're presenting it. They are trying to convince people to go with that project. And it's just a bad idea, but you can't really say that. You might hurt their feelings or, get them upset. So we have to find a softer, nicer alternative to say that's a bad idea. So don't do it. So what can we say for that? Hey, English Vibes! Nice to see you. Let's see. Any suggestions, guys? Okay, I'm not sure it's a good idea. That works. Okay, I think that's what I said. That's exactly what I said. So we've got the same ones. Lolly, we keep getting the same expressions. We really have the same way of thinking, I guess. All right. I think you are wrong. That's actually a little bit harsh as well. I think you're wrong. People might get a little bit offended, okay? They don't like it when people tell them they're wrong. So I wouldn't use this one. I'm not sure if this would work out, okay? Could we consider another idea? That works as well. You could also just suggest something else. How about blah, 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 blah instead, okay? We may think of another suggestion, okay? This might not be the best idea. Or you could also say something like, I'm not sure how this would work out. Or I'm not sure how this would, work out or work, I would say. Okay? Sorry, but it's not a suitable idea. This, again, guys, is a little bit too direct. English people, specifically the Brits, They don't really go for super direct way. That's why I'm not quite sure. Perhaps we could. How about we see? It's not like boom in your face. It's a lot more subtle. Subtle, okay? I think you might be mistaken, Lolly. Okay, yeah. Okay, you corrected yourself. Very good. I think you might be mistaken. Not sure about that one. It's a correct expression, okay? It's correct, but I would use that better for, let's say, somebody comes up to you in the street and say, Marta, how are you? I was like, I think, I mean, you must have me, I'm sorry, I can't speak. You must be mistaken, I'm not Marta. Okay, I would use it more in that kind of way. I wasn't it was on the tip of my tongue. Okay. Tongue, be careful. G-U-E at the end, okay? What about thinking in through another... So how about we look at a different perspective? Look through. I'm not sure about this one, guys. I'm not sure, so I'm not going to say anything. I don't want to be wrong, okay? If it's a really bad idea, it's better to warn people directly. Yes, but again, you don't want to offend anybody. And if it's a friend, if it's a family member, I would say you're wrong. No problem. Or it's a bad idea. No problem. But with a coworker, you might want to be a little bit more careful. Okay? Yes, English people and British people are quite polite. Yes, quite polite. Absolutely. The same, they often don't use very, very strong adjectives. An American might say, I'm angry, but a British person, English, Scottish, Welsh, they might say, I'm upset. Upset. If they use angry, it's really strong, okay? It's always a little bit more subtle, always more subtle. Okay, guys, so we are going to move on to the next slide, which is now... things you shouldn't do, specifically in the UK, all right? Hey, David, I remember your name. You don't have to be polite. Sorry, you don't have to be polite when dealing with us, but what type of response do you expect if not? Good point, David. Very good point. Absolutely. Okay. All right. So now we're going to have a look at a few things that you shouldn't do. Now, again, remember, it depends on the situation, the context, who you're talking to. And also some people just might get offended a little bit quicker than others. And other people just don't get offended at all. So these are tips that usually work for most people in general. But again, there's different people everywhere that expect different things from everybody. Okay? British, a lot of sarcasm, so instead of saying I'm angry, we might even say I'm super happy about that. True, that's very true. Absolutely. All right, Andreas, don't pick your nose. Yeah, definitely don't pick your nose. Don't do that. I really hate it when I'm driving and I see people picking their nose. It's like, do you think I can't see you because you're inside the car? I can't see it. Alright guys, so let's have a look. There's no specific order. I just wrote a bunch of little things. The first one is avoid pointing fingers and saying you there, come here, you. That's a little bit rude. Okay, what? Me? What did I do? Okay, don't do that. You. Friends, family, again, it's alright, but somebody in the street, it's a bit aggressive, a bit all up in your face, okay? You could hurt yourself, so do you mind if you stop doing it? Would you mind stopping? You could hurt yourself, so would you mind stopping? Okay? Please. Okay, sorry guys. I wasn't very clear. You don't have to say things about those. You can come up with alternative sentences, that's fine. But these are mostly things that you... Ooh, I have an alarm. Sorry if I was not very clear. These are just things that I want you to be aware of, okay? Now, if you know more things that are rude that people shouldn't do, whether in England or other countries, please write them down, okay? But those are not sentences like the previous slides, okay? This is slightly different, okay? Good. And David is saying, but when else are we expected to pick our nose? Do it at home! And David is also saying, never make eye contact in the tube, specifically in London, the London Underground. Never talk when in the elevator. I know. Or something that's really awkward in the elevator, make sure everybody faces the same way. It would be really awkward if you're facing someone in the elevator. Very, very awkward. Okay? Then the next one I came up with is make sure you... Oh yeah, these are things that you shouldn't do, sorry. Make sure you don't eat with your mouth full. Speaking! I made a mistake here. It's speaking, not eating with your mouth full. Speaking with your mouth full, okay? It's a bit rude. Nobody wants to see what's going on inside your mouth, so just chew with your mouth closed. I know a lot of those things might seem a little bit basic, guys, but remember, in different cultures, different countries, things are considered rude and others are not. So we're just going over some of the basics, okay? Good. Next one is, and that's a big no-no. Do not cut in line. Don't jump the line. This is not good. And English or British people in general like to queue. They love forming nice and neat lines. So don't ruin that. And I know in Spain, people are pretty good at queuing for the bus, but I'm sorry, older ladies just think they are the king in the world in Spain, and they just cut in line in front of everybody, and it's absolutely annoying. So don't do that in England. Just don't. Don't do it. It's not nice. It's not accepted. Nobody's going to be happy about it, and you might get shouted out. So don't do it. Okay? But supposed to talk in the elevator. You can pick your nose. Marine wants coffee. I don't get what you just wrote, Khalid. Can you rewrite that? I didn't get that. Okay? So Sergio's saying, I cannot avoid talking in the elevator. I take a class to train skills. You practice elevator pitches. Yes, it's when you have 2, 3 or 4 minutes, just the time of the elevator ride, to convince someone of something. That's actually a really good business exercise. It's a really good business exercise. And Sheriff is saying, you have line cutters in Egypt. Yes. Oh, yes, David, that is such a big one. This annoys me so much as well when in Spain. People don't let you come off the train before they get in. And they're literally pushing you back in. It's like, dude, I was here first. Let me out first. Very good one. Okay, next one is... Okay, that one's going to sound weird, but don't touch people. Don't touch people. Whether it's to say hello, people don't usually, kiss like we French people do. Or in Spain, it's quite common. Let's say you want to walk through, but there's people in the way. They might put their hand on their shoulder and just say, "Hey, can I go through? Do you mind moving?" Don't really touch people like that in England. It's not as common. Okay, they're not very touchy like that. Whereas Spanish people, they're always touching your shoulder or I don't know, your shoulder, nothing else. But it's a common thing, not so much for Brits in general, okay? All right, next one we have don't be late. Don't be late. Now, there is always, it's sometimes you can be fashionably late. Let's say for a party, it starts at 8. It's okay to arrive a few minutes late, maybe 10, 15 minutes late. But I'm writing this one in particular because in Spain, if you say, let's say 8 o'clock, you're sure nobody will come. Nobody will come until at least 8:30. So they always have a minimum of half an hour of delay, if not more. So that's not so accepted in the UK. So be careful with that. Okay, guys? And then Andres is saying Germany is quite similar in the kind of touching thing. Okay, good. And then, so we were just talking about, being invited and not being late for a party. And a common thing to do as well is to come with something. So don't come empty-handed. Now, if it's a dinner party, quite a common thing to do is to either bring flowers or maybe a bottle of wine to have with the meal. That's quite a common thing to do. And I mean, it's not mandatory, but it's preferable. It's preferable. Now, again, if it is to go to your mom's house, to your uncle's house, to your sister's house, you don't need to. Really, you don't need to. But let's say your friend has organized a nice dinner party. There's, maybe you're 10 people and you're going to have a lovely dinner. It's common courtesy to bring a little something, okay? And then don't ask or don't talk about money, politics, and religion. In general, again, guys, there are people that will absolutely love talking about those topics. But I'm pretty certain that, the one topic you want to avoid no matter what is money. People don't like it when you ask them how much money they earn, and they don't necessarily like saying how much they earn anyways. So this is kind of a touchy topic. You want to avoid that. The same with politics and religion. They could create conflict, and if you're just, having a bit of fun time, leisure time with your friends, even with your friends, sometimes at work as well, just don't even think about it. Don't go over those topics, okay? Hey Nishan, nice to see you. Then the next one is don't ask a lady her age, but I think that's quite common in most cultures. Women don't like to, tell their age. Why? Because culturally we're not supposed to age. That's what, society has told us. Anyways, but yeah, it's quite impolite to ask a woman her age. I don't care, and I know a lot of women don't, but to avoid any kind of problem, just don't ask. Don't ask, okay? And then, the last one is don't ask intimate or personal questions. For example, you've just met someone, be careful not to ask them things that are too detailed. They don't want to reveal their whole life story to you. They don't know you. You need to, create more of a relationship with someone before you go into more personal and intimate questions. Okay? All right. So, exactly. I don't think it's necessary to mention those topics. So be careful. Those topics in our Hangout. Absolutely. Okay, Brexit is a different story. Brexit, it has been and is and will be and was a very common topic, and people do talk a lot about it. But yeah, exactly like David is saying, that could cause friction. I did talk about it a little bit, for example, with my in-laws, and we just couldn't agree. And it was just better not to talk about it and avoid it. That's it. Absolutely. Lolly, you can't remember your age. You know what? Every year I have to calculate because I forget. And when I was a child, I was like, how can you possibly forget how old you are? That is the most important thing in the world. But as you get older, you just don't care so much. Health. Oh, that's interesting. So in Germany, health is kind of a taboo topic. Interesting. Okay. All right. Good. So Khalid wants his air. Here you go. That's for you, Khalid. It's hot. Okay, so now we're moving on to the next category, the last category today, which is things to say. I didn't mean say, I meant do. Let me change that. Things to do or be aware of, okay? So the first thing, guys, and this is, if you go to the UK, you have to say hello, you have to say thank you, you have to say sorry, and you have to say please. Brits even say sorry if somebody steps on their own foot. you step on my foot, but I'm going to say sorry. They will say hello all the time. They will say thank you. They're just very, very polite when it comes to using these particular words. In Spain, for example, it's quite different. In the bar, so I used to go to that little bar where I used to work, and I would always say, can I have, a piece of toast with ham, please? And he was like, why please? No need to say please. Or when I would say thanks, like, no need to say thank you. Like, almost offended that I would say please and thank you all the time. So yeah, here in the south of Spain, it's not as necessary. It's not a requirement. But in England, if you want people to be nice to you, you have to, take that first step and actually say thank you, please, sorry, hello. Okay? All right. So Nada has been stuck at 21 for many years. Yeah, me too. The next one is, okay, so this one is a little bit similar as well, but excuse me. Remember earlier when I said don't touch people? And I said in Spain, if you want to, go through a crowd and there's people and you need people to move, they'll just touch you on the shoulder and say sorry or move. In England, it's quite common to say excuse me. So you say excuse me so you don't have to touch people to tell them to move. Okay, so you say excuse me. It's very common in those situations. Or if you want to interrupt someone, excuse me, hi, may I blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. All right, next one. All right, so let's say you go to the pub, okay, and you order some drinks. It's quite common to pay straight away and not to have a running tab. Now, of course, guys, remember I said these are general things. It might not be the case everywhere, but most places I've been to, not restaurants, more like pubs, you order a drink, you pay. You order a drink, you pay. That way they don't have to keep long tabs and know who owes what. So that's quite common. David, would you let me know if you would agree with this one, or if maybe where you're from it's slightly different? In Cambridge, the place that I've been to, and in Nottingham mostly because it was a student place as well, so obviously they want you to pay straight away. But in Cambridge, it's fairly similar as well. You have to pay as you go, pretty much. Okay, next one is, okay, that I think applies in many countries as well. Make sure you take your hat off when you are inside, okay? It's just considered a little bit rude to keep a cap or hat or anything on, okay? Now, next one. All right, we're already at 47 minutes. Wow. It's gone really quick. Okay, this one surprised me a little bit because in the end, it's kind of like in the US. So let's say you go to the restaurant. It's quite common to see on your bill, on your receipt, on the bill, to see a service charge. A service charge. This is basically some kind of mandatory tip. So this is usually around 10%, and it goes toward, it's a tip for the waiter, the waitress, the staff, for everybody else. But yeah, it's kind of, not every place does that, but I know a lot of places do it. I used to work in a place that did it as well. I thought it was a bit strange. 10% for me is huge compared to in France where, there's no percentage at all. You just give whatever you want. So yeah, I thought that was a bit strange, but I mean, it kind of makes sense. Give a tip. Why not? But yeah, keep that in mind when you do order food. You might have that little service charge. Now, this is not something you get at fast foods, for example. It would really have to be a restaurant, a proper restaurant. So yeah, David agrees. Generally, you pay as you go. And then you're saying Nottingham used to have a ratio of 5 women to each man. Really? It's probably changed now because it's there's a huge university there, and there's students from everywhere, so it's probably a bit different now, I assume. Then we have 2 more, guys. The next one is the Brits love to talk about the weather. Whether it's raining, it's sunny, it's cloudy, they love talking about the weather. And something that might surprise you as well is the moment there's a ray of sunshine, the Brits take their flip-flops out and clack, 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 clack. They walk in flip-flops. Or shorts in the middle of winter, but it's a bit sunny, so they wear shorts and t-shirts. crazy. The same when it comes to, cold weather. I was so surprised about how underdressed mostly women are when they go out. They don't want to pay for the cloakroom, so they don't take jackets, and they're wearing miniskirts and crop tops and short sleeves, and they're freezing outside. But no, I have to be pretty and not wear a jacket. That's very crazy to me. Anyways, so yeah, but in general, Brits love talking about the weather. Which, is a nice little conversation filler or conversation starter, so I guess that's why. Do you guys like to talk about the weather in your own country as well? Let me know, guys. Okay, so let me see. Let's go back on some of the comments. Marine, are you talking about tips or taxes? I'm talking, so the service charge is actually like a tip, but it's written on the bill. It's not a tax, it's a tip, okay? But it is roughly around 10% usually. And Lolly, you say, yeah, in France, sorry, we have no mandatory service charge. Nope, absolutely. Okay, yes, that's good. Important. David says, important service charge. A restaurant must state on the menu if there's a service charge included. Some charge it and then also leave it as optional on the bill. Yes, okay, yes, I've seen that as well. Because, yeah, imagine you don't know and then you end up having to pay an extra 10%. Boy, that's not nice. Okay, so in Sheriff, you said in Egypt, you tend to have a 10% as well. Okay, so Sheriff, I actually had a big debate on this expression. It's raining cats and dogs. I have literally never, ever heard anyone use that expression. It's raining cats and dogs. But I remember I made a video, I think a year or so ago. I think it was on Instagram, I can't remember. And I had people that were greatly offended by me saying that nobody says it's raining cats and dogs. To me, it's just one of those very generic expressions that they teach you when you start learning English. But it's not actually that commonly used. Every single English speaking person I've asked have told me that they've never used that expression. It's pouring down, it's tossing. I think tossing is another one. You can also say one that's a little bit more rude, but it's pissing it down. There's so many other alternatives. Nobody says it's raining cats and dogs, really. Nobody. Some take 30%. Wow, that is huge. Yeah, exactly. In Spain in winter, everybody's wearing thick coats and the Brits are wearing shorts and t-shirts. Yep, absolutely. Okay, yes, exactly, David. It's kind of an old phrase. I don't think much people use it anymore. And yes, exactly. Just like I said, absolutely. It's pissing down. It's pissing it down. Exactly. All right, and so my last one, guys. That one did surprise me a little bit at first, but it's very common. People use a lot of affectionate nicknames. People you don't know. The bus driver could call you love, or duck, or hun. And it's not patronizing, it's not weird or anything like that. It's just quite common. They like to use those little words. The love one, especially, I think when I was in Cambridge, they used that one a lot. Hi, love. Quite common. Okay? All right. All right, guys. So I think that's about it. We've reached the end of our lesson today. I'm curious to hear about some things that are considered rude in your own country. But I would like you guys to comment that in the actual comment section, not in the chat, because the chat will disappear after, okay? But I want other people to learn from other cultures. So please let us know in the comment section where you're from and maybe one or two things that you should or shouldn't do in your country. That way, if one of us goes to those countries, we'll know. We'll be prepared. Okay? All right, guys. So I'm going to move on to our bye-bye slide. Bye-bye slide. So, of course, guys, make sure that you like the video. Give it a big thumbs up. That you share it as well. That way we can reach and help even more learners. Okay? Now, of course, as you know, you can become a patron. How? By getting me a little cup of coffee. Where? at www.coffee.com. That allows me to, create more content, pay for this software that I'm using right now. And as you guys know, it's far away, but I would have shown you my broken tripod, and I need a microphone. So please, if you want, just check the link in the description below, www.coffee.com. Now, of course, we have our next live. It's going to be the listening practice that we didn't do last week. We did something a little bit different. We did a story time. If you don't know what that is, basically I wrote a story based on words that I asked you guys on social media to give me. Now, I've written the first chapter, and at the end, you guys need to choose how you want the story to continue. There's 2 options, and you have to vote in the comment section which option you prefer. Now, this, I want you to take it as an audiobook, as a different way to include some kind of listening in your daily routine. Now, I know this is just a chapter, it's a start, but, the more we do it, the more chapters there'll be, and the more things you'll have to listen to. Now, I also want you to check on YouTube. There's loads of free audiobooks. Have a look at them. Well, listen to them. You can listen to them in the car. It's just nice to not just do listening activities all the time. Okay? So please make sure you check that video. It's called Storytime Living the Good Lie, if I remember correctly. And it is chapter 1. So please go have a look at it. And so you know that the Saturday live will be on Saturday at 11 a.m. GMT +2. And we have an American female teacher this time. Okay? So I'm just going to check. I see there's a few little comments here, guys. So David was saying duck in this area is derived from duckus. Yeah, from Duke. Duke, is that how you say it? I think I read about that. Or duck. Yeah. It doesn't have anything to do with duck. Ah, fun. I thought it was completely related to that. Okay, cool. When Anna once called me darling, I was quite puzzled. Yes, okay. Absolutely, that's another one, darling. See, for me, that's a little bit more difficult to do, because that's not how we do it in my culture in France. So if I don't call you guys honey or darling or sweetling, I don't know. That's just because it's not a common thing for me to do. But you will hear a lot of native teachers online use those little words. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, well, thank you so much, guys. I'm so excited. I'm so happy that you liked the lesson. I thought it would be a nice little thing to do, to change. Instead of just teaching you vocabulary, we would do something different. Oh, thank you, Caitlin. Thank you. I think Caitlin is the patron of the week, guys. Thank you. I'll have a look at that in a minute. You'll get a big shout out, girl. Thank you very much. All right, guys. It's a viral tip listening to audiobooks. Vital, yes. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. Well, yeah, that's it. I'm going to go. We're almost at 1 hour, and I'm going to go film some videos now, guys. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and of course, keep on learning. Now I'm going to put my bye-bye slide. Bye-bye, guys. See you soon. Where is it? Where's my end screen? I don't think I have it. It's here. Okay, I have it. Okay, bye-bye, guys. See you. So, guys, if you are curious and you want to hear me speak French, my native language, make sure to check the video that I released last week on how to pronounce the alphabet.